this alternate history, handing over one list of names is all it takes to unravel American elections from the inside out.
This story is fictional. It's based on real events, but everything beyond the known facts is speculation. Our goal is to explore an alternate timeline, not to rewrite history, but to imagine what might have been.
In the summer of 2026, the Department of Justice sent a subpoena to Fulton County, Georgia, demanding the names and personal information of election workers who had served during the 2020 presidential election. The request was tied to the Trump administration's ongoing investigation into claims of widespread voter fraud, claims that had been examined, litigated, and rejected dozens of times in courts across the country. Fulton County pushed back. The case landed in front of U.S. District Judge William Ray. On July 7th, Judge Ray ruled against the DOJ. He found no legal basis for the demand. The subpoena was quashed. The names stayed protected. But what if Judge Ray had ruled the other way? The order comes down on a Tuesday afternoon. By Wednesday morning, a full list of Fulton County election workers, their names, home addresses, phone numbers, and email addresses, is in the hands of federal investigators. The DOJ marks the documents as sensitive. They are not supposed to leave secure channels. Within 72 hours they do. Nobody ever proves exactly how it happens. A screenshot, a leaked file, a copied spreadsheet. However it moves, the list reaches the internet by Friday, and within hours it's circulating across forums and encrypted messaging channels that have spent years targeting election workers. By Saturday, the first calls start coming in. Sandra Tillman has worked Fulton County elections since 2012. She answers phones at a voting precinct and trains new volunteers. She is not a political operative. She's a retired school administrator who believes in civic duty. On Saturday morning, she receives 17 calls before noon. The callers know her name, her street, her car. One leaves a voicemail to front porch in detail. She calls her supervisor and quits before lunch. She is not alone. In the first 10 days after the list goes public, 43 Fulton County election workers resign. 12 file police reports. 3 families temporarily leave their homes. The county scrambles to fill positions with less than 4 months until the November 2026 midterm elections finds almost no takers. The pool of people willing to work polls in Fulton County effectively dries up overnight. Fulton County is not a small operation. It covers over 1 million registered voters and is one of the most closely watched election jurisdictions in the country. Without experienced staff, the county's election director begins telling state officials privately that he cannot guarantee a functional election in November. The Fulton County situation does not stay local for long. 3 days after the list goes public, the DOJ files similar subpoenas in Maricopa County, Arizona, and Wayne County, Michigan, both central to the post-2020 fraud narrative, both home to election workers who have already spent years under public pressure and personal threats. The subpoenas are framed as routine investigative procedure. Election officials in both counties read them for what they are, an invitation for the same thing that just Georgia. State legislatures in Arizona and Michigan hold emergency sessions. Attorneys general in both states file to block the subpoenas. The legal battles will take months the calendar does not have. In the meantime, election workers begin resigning before the court fights are even settled. The threat alone is enough. By September, a coalition of election directors from 8 states sends a letter to Congress warning that staffing levels in counties have dropped below the threshold needed to run a compliant federal election. The letter is specific. Some precincts will be unable to open on Election Day without emergency intervention, and the certification process in multiple states may be legally compromised by the staffing gaps alone. Congress does not act. The House and Senate are locked in competing investigations. The administration calls the letter a political stunt. November arrives. In Fulton County, roughly a third of polling locations open late. Lines stretch for hours. Voting machines sit unconfigured because the workers who know how to operate them are no longer employed by the county. And provisional ballot counts spike to levels that guarantee a post-election legal challenge regardless of the outcome. In Wayne County, 3 precincts do not open at all. In Maricopa, a federal judge orders extended voting hours after a documented breakdown in the ballot handling chain of custody. The state legislature immediately challenges the order. Results in all 3 states come in fragmented, incomplete, and days late. Certification deadlines arrive before the counts are finished. State officials in 2 states refuse to certify. The cases go to Congress, which, split along lines that have hardened for years, cannot agree on a standard for how to proceed. Competing slates of electors are proposed. The term gets used in briefings and floor speeches for the first time since 1876. By December, the phrase constitutional crisis has moved from academic commentary to front-page headlines. The Supreme Court agrees to hear the question of whether uncertified results can stand. The decision will not come until January. Inauguration Day is 6 weeks away. International elections from the Organization of American States issue a formal statement noting conditions incompatible with a credible democratic process in 3 U.S. states. The European Union's election monitoring body follows with its own assessment. The language is diplomatic. The meaning is not. At home, polling shows that fewer than a third of Americans believe the 2026 midterm results accurately reflect the will of the voters. And that number holds across party lines. The argument is no longer really about who won. It is about whether the process itself means anything at all. Fulton County posts an emergency hiring notice for election workers. The listing receives 4 applications.
In this world, history went one way. But here, we ask what could have happened. If you want more alternate timelines and government what-ifs, subscribe, comment your theory, and stay tuned. This is State of What If.